You wake up because something moved. Not an alarm. Not sunlight slipping through a curtain. Something moved. A sound in the darkness, a crack of a branch somewhere beyond the edge of the fire. And before your eyes are even open, your heart is already racing. Because 40,000 years ago, every unexpected sound carried a question modern humans rarely have to ask. What was that? And is it coming closer? Most people imagine life in the ancient world as difficult. That's true. But difficulty isn't what would break you. The strange part is how quickly your mind would begin to unravel. Because the moment you open your eyes, you discover something unsettling. You are not at the top of the food chain. Not even close. The fire beside you has almost died. The darkness beyond it feels endless, and for thousands of generations. Darkness wasn't simply the absence of light. It was territory. Territory owned by things that could see better than you, hear better than you, smell better than you, things that had spent millions of years perfecting the art of killing. The modern world teaches you that danger is rare. The ancient world taught the opposite. Danger was the default setting. And that realization arrives before breakfast. If breakfast arrives at all. Most people think survival in the past depended on strength. That's not what the evidence suggests. Researchers studying hunter-gatherer societies noticed something unexpected. The strongest individuals were not always the most successful. The most observant often were. The people who noticed a broken branch, a distant footprint, a sudden silence in the birds. Because long before humans learned to dominate nature, they learned to read it. And if you suddenly found yourself in their world, you would discover an uncomfortable truth. You can't. At least not anymore. You know thousands of things, but almost none of them would help. You know passwords, apps, currencies. Ancient humans knew the direction of water from the movement of insects, the age of tracks pressed into mud, the meaning of a silence that lasted slightly too long. Knowledge didn't live in books, it lived in attention, and attention was often the difference between life and death. As the morning unfolds, another realization begins to emerge. You are hungry. Not bored hungry. Not, I'll grab something later, hungry. Actual hunger. The kind evolution designed to hurt. The kind that quietly follows you through every decision. Modern humans spend enormous effort resisting food. Ancient humans spent enormous effort finding it. For most of human history, uncertainty wasn't an occasional inconvenience. It was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The next meal existed somewhere in the landscape. Maybe, and suddenly every berry matters. Every footprint matters. Every cloud matters. Every decision matters. The world becomes sharper, smaller, more immediate. Because survival has compressed reality into a single question. What happens next? Then something stranger begins to happen. You notice the silence. No traffic, no engines, no distant televisions, no electrical hum hidden beneath everyday life. Just wind, birds, footsteps, and your own breathing. At first it feels peaceful, then it doesn't. Because modern humans almost never experience true silence. Researchers who study sensory environments have found that our brains adapt to constant background stimulation. Remove it completely, and something unusual happens. The mind begins searching. For patterns, for threats, for certainty. And certainty is one thing the ancient world never promised. By midday, the landscape starts changing. Not physically, psychologically. The forest no longer looks beautiful. It looks complicated. Every tree could hide something. Every hill blocks information. Every shadow becomes a question. Most people imagine ancient humans feared predators. They did. But there was something larger than predators. Uncertainty. The knowledge that reality could change without warning. A storm, an injury, a fall, a bite, a mistake. Civilization protects us from thousands of tiny disasters so effectively that we rarely notice they exist. Ancient humans noticed them constantly, because they had to. Then evening arrives, and this is where most modern people would fail. Not because of wolves, not because of hunger, because of night. When the sun disappears, the world shrinks, visibility collapses. The fire becomes everything, its warmth, its light, its protection. Beyond that circle is a darkness deeper than anything most people have ever experienced. And sitting beside that fire, staring into the blackness, you begin to understand something disturbing. Your ancestors did this for hundreds of thousands of years, night after night, generation after generation, listening, waiting, watching, surviving. Not because they were superhuman, but because they became adapted to a reality we no longer inhabit. Most people assume human history is the story of civilization, cities, technology, agriculture, progress. But that's not where humanity was shaped. For more than 95% of our existence, humans lived in a world like this one. A world of uncertainty, movement, weather, predators, hunger, firelight. And perhaps the strangest realization of all is that your brain was built there. The anxieties you feel, the fears you cannot explain, the instincts that appear without permission. Many of them are echoes, messages traveling across thousands of generations, reminders from a world that no longer exists, or perhaps a world that never completely disappeared. Because if you somehow survived one day as an ancient human, you would return with an uncomfortable understanding. The modern world did not remove the ancient human from inside you. It merely gave that ancient human walls, electricity, medicine, and the illusion of certainty. But late at night, when the room is silent and your mind begins searching the darkness for reasons it cannot explain, a small part of you is still sitting beside that fire, listening, waiting, wondering what moved beyond the edge of the light.